Hi everybody, welcome to an Age of Fantasy Skirmish battle report. Saurians versus Change Disciples. The Necromancer is closing in on Faewynn. All around Teniras, his evil forces search for clues of her whereabouts. Little does he know that she's moving towards him, nearer and nearer, to get the opportunity of a final attack, to end his reign of terror once and for all. In a small village, almost gone, in the surrounding swamp and vegetation, a group of Saurians now face a group of the Necromancer's demonic Change Disciples searching for Faewynn. If the Saurians can defeat them or delay them long enough, they could do their valuable part in the fight against evil. The Saurians are led by a Saurian veteran. He has top 3 and he's armed with a heavy spear and he has the ability Ferocious. With him he has 2 squads of Saurian warriors. They are all armed with hand weapons. Then we have 2 Saurian guardians. They are armed with heavy halberds. All the Saurians are predators and they are also fearless. Finally, we have a group of geckos. They have strider and they are armed with hand weapons and javelins and they are poisonous. They are also fearless. The attacking Change Disciples are led by a Change Birdman champion with top 3 and he is armed with a lance. With him he has 2 squads of Change Birdmen. They are armed with hexed swords. And then we have 2 Change Birdmen disc riders. They are fast, they have strider and top 3 and they are armed with hand weapons and Birdmen short bows. All the Change Disciples have stealth. The Saurians have taken refuge in the buildings and in the vegetation of this swamp. They hide themselves to be ready for the incoming attack. They have deployed all along the north edge of the battlefield. Approaching from the south, all the Change Disciples have deployed, also behind cover of rocks, trees, and buildings. This is a last force standing mission. So let's get to the roll-off. The Change Disciples will roll the green dice and the Saurians the blue dice. And it looks like the Change Disciples will activate first. Round 1. The first activation is a Change Birdman disc rider. He can cover a lot of distance. He can move 8 inches and he can easily move into the swamp. He will fire his short bow against the Saurian warriors. He will hit on a 4. And he will hit with his short bow. 2 hits. It's AP nothing. The Saurians will defend with force. And the arrows are not able to pierce the tough Saurian skin. Only the geckos have long-range weapons, but the Saurian veteran leader will activate first and he will move to this building and take cover behind the vegetation. He will be close to this Change Birdman. And the Birdman disc rider will activate next. He will forget about the leader and instead target the Saurian warriors behind the building. Again, he will hit and it will take a 4 to defend. Again, the arrows have no effect. The Saurians take a lot of fire. They cannot reach anybody with a charge, but they have to move to get closer. So the Saurian warriors here will move closer to the center of the swamp, and they will also protect their leader. Maybe it's a trap, we will see, but the Change Birdmen here will immediately attack. So they charge the group of Saurian warriors. They are armed with hexed swords and they hit with rolls of 4. And there are 2 hits. They have the warp ability, so if the defense rolls are a roll of 1, they will take an additional wound. And we have that case here. One of the hits are defended, the other one will unfortunately add a wound, so that will be 2 Saurian warriors down in this attack. Only 1 Saurian left to strike back. He'll hit on a 4, but he will hope for a 6 because he's a predator. but he didn't roll a 6, only a 5. That's good enough to hit, and there is no defense roll, so one change birdman is killed in the return strike. Now the geckos have been waiting for their chance. They will climb down from this building 6 inches, and from this position they can fire their javelins at the change birdman on the top of this house. They can hit him, they are within 12 inches, but because of his stealth, they will not hit with 5s, but they will need 6s. And there are no 6s. The other group of change birdmen are not within charge range of any of the Saurians, but they will move closer to the center of the battlefield, and maybe one of the strong guardians will attack. And that's exactly what's going to happen. The Saurian guardian will charge the group of birdmen, but he only has 1 attack. He will hit on a 3 though. And no. He will not hit with his heavy halberd, and now he faces the return strike. 3 birdmen will hit him. That was the plan in the first place. And they will hit him twice. But he has a very strong defense of 3. And the birdman weapon, even though they are hexed, they do not have any AP at all. Let's see if the Saurian guardian can defend the hits. He will defend one of the hits. He doesn't roll any 1s, but there will still be 1 wound, and he will have to roll on the wound chart, and it's a 5. That attack was strong enough to take down the Saurian guardian. He's out. With the upper hand on the battlefield, the birdman champion steps out in the open. He will have several attack options next round. But then the Saurian warriors will attack the birdman disc rider here. They will hit him 3 times, and that's a disastrous roll. No hits at all. And even though close combat is not the birdman's specialty, he can attack twice with his hand weapon. He'll need 4s. 1 hit. The Saurians must roll a 4, and yet again they exchange a lot of hits, but they do not really wound each other. The second Saurian guardian moves out. He is not within charge range of anybody, so he'll stop here on the north side of the swamp, and that will conclude the first round. 1 Saurian guardian was killed. Other than that, the battle seems to concentrate on the middle of the swamp. It's round number 2. Round 2 begins with this birdman disc rider. He will perform an assault on these annoying geckos. So he will fly down from the building and fire his bow. He will need 5s now to hit, and he will hit with 1 of his arrows. The geckos have a weak defense. They will need a 5, and no. 1 gecko is pierced by an arrow. But the birdman is not finished yet. He can finish his assault and attack the geckos with his hand weapons. Again, he'll need 5s instead of 4s, and again there is 1 hit. Not enough to eliminate the geckos, but there is 1 gecko that will need to roll a 5, and again it fails. So 1 gecko remaining. It can fight back though. With a tiny hand weapon and a roll of 5, the gecko will hit the assaulting birdman, but no. This looks bad for the remaining gecko. The Saurian veteran, who has seen a lot of battle, will now move out from his hiding place and charge these 2 birdmen. And he will attack with a powerful spear. And the heavy spear will hit with a roll of 2 because of his ferocious ability. And he will also roll a 6, and that will give him an additional attack, but he'll fail that one. So it's 2 hits. And the birdmen will need 6s, and they will fail both defense rolls. 2 birdmen will be pierced with 1 strike of the heavy spear. So 1 is out, and the remaining 1 will get 1 wound. And he will have to roll on the wound chart. and it's a roll of 3, so that's not enough to take him out. But he is shaken. He can fight back though, but he will not hit. The veteran will move back 1 inch, and the Birdman will be shaken. The other Disc Rider will easily move over the swamp. He has Strider. And then he will fire his bow against the Saurian warriors. He will hit them twice, but will he also wound them? They have to roll force, and they will succeed both defense rolls again. No damage. Immediately after, the warriors will activate. They will forget about the Disc Rider, and instead they will charge the Birdman. 3 attacks, they will hit on force. They will succeed with 2 of them, and with 1 roll of 6, they will have their additional Predator attack, and they will hit with that one as well. 3 hits, and only 1 good defense roll. 2 Birdmen are struck down by the charging Saurians. So the final Birdman can fight back, but he is too messed up to hit, and the Saurians will move back 1 inch. The Birdman champion has seen enough. He will immediately charge the group of warriors. And he will attack with a lance. 3 attacks, and he will get AP2 when he charges. Luckily for the warriors, only 1 hit. But they will have to come up with a roll of 6, and they are not able to do that. So 1 warrior is out. The 2 remaining warriors will fight back, but they have already fought, so they'll need 6s to hit anything. But there is 1 roll of 6, and that will trigger the Predator extra attack, but only 1 hit. The Birdman champion needs a 5 in defense, and he rolls a 2, so he will take 1 wound from this battle. The only survivor from this group of warriors will charge the Birdman. He is shaken, but he is still a target for attack. And there will be a hit. 1 hit. The Birdman must roll a 5. And this time he will roll a 6, so he's safe for now. He will not hit with his return strike, but he will remove his shaken condition. This Saurian Guardian will have limited movement over the swamp, but he's still able to reach the Birdman champion with a charge, but only with 1 attack with his heavy halberd. He will hit with a roll of 3. And no, a failed attack. That's really unfortunate. Now the Birdman champion can fight back. He has already fought, but he has 3 attacks. And he will roll 6 with 1 of them, so he will have a good return strike, but not enough to penetrate the Saurian armor. It's a real tough battle in the middle of the swamp right now. This Birdman has already fought, and the Saurian warrior also, and that's a failed attack. The Saurian warrior will turn around, and he will also have to come up with a roll of 6 to hit, and he will also fail. So they will swing their weapons, but hit only thin air. Now the Gecko. He will aim his javelin at the Birdman who just attacked. And this time he will have to roll a 5. And this time he will almost hit. Close, but not close enough. That was the final activation of the second round. A lot of heavy fighting, arrows and javelins flying through the air. Let's see how things turn out in the third round. Again, a Disc Rider is the first unit to activate. He will move over the swamp, 8 inches of fast movement. And then he will fire his short bow at the warriors. And this time he will hit with all 3 shots. So 2 warriors are left to defend. And once again they will block 2 of the arrows, but 1 will go through. 1 warrior is killed. These Disc Riders are getting increasingly dangerous for the Saurians, so the Saurian veteran will charge the other Disc Rider. 3 attacks, he will hit on a 2, he is ferocious, and he is also a predator, and he will have 1 roll of 6 that will give him another attack chance, and he will roll a 1 the only roll he will not hit with, but 2 hits anyway. And the spear is AP1, so the Disc Rider must roll 6s, and he's not able to do that, so 2 wounds. That's not enough to take him down. And he will also be able to fight back with 2 hand weapon attacks against the veteran. 2 rolls, and he will hit with them both, but the veteran is heavily armed. He will need a 3, and he will easily block the attacks. The Disc Rider has fought now, but he's still able to shoot, so he will move slightly back, and then he will aim at the Saurian veteran with his 3 handbow attacks. And he's only on target with 1 of his shots. The veteran must try to defend again with a roll of 3. And that's very easy for him. With a roll of 6, he will defend in style. Again, there is a clash between the remaining Saurian warrior and the remaining birdman in the middle of the swamp. The warrior will hit, and with a 6 he will have another predator attack chance, but he'll fail that one, so 1 hit. And the birdman must roll a 5 to block the attack. No, he fails. He will take his 2nd wound, and that will be an even trickier roll on the wound chart. And it seems, no, it's not enough to take him out. But he will be shaken. And then he can fight back. He will need a 6 and no hit. The Birdman champion will move into the swamp and charge the Guardian. 3 attacks with his lance with AP2. And 2 hits. That could be difficult for the Guardian, even with his strong armor. He'll have to roll 5s. So he'll block 1 of the hits, not the other, and that gives him 1 wound. The roll on the wound chart, it's a 4, very close, but he's still around, but he's shaken. He has a chance to fight back with his heavy halberd, and he hits the gecko with the die, but not anything else. Speaking of the gecko, he will assault the Disc Rider. First, he will throw his javelin. He'll need a 6 to hit. Ooh, it's a 5. Very close. Then he will get into close combat, and he is within his veteran's Ferocious range, so he will only need a 5, and he will hit with his hand weapon. It's AP nothing, but it's poisonous, and the Disc Rider will not defend that roll. He will take his 3rd wound, and that will force him to roll on the wound chart. Could the gecko take him out? That would be incredible, but no. The Birdman is only shaken. So he can attack back now. 2 attacks with a roll of 6. That could be dangerous. Yes, he will hit with 1 of them. The gecko has a very weak defense. He'll need a 5. Ooh, and that was the exact right moment to pull out a roll of 6. This fight is not over yet. The Saurian warrior in the middle of the swamp is incredibly enough alive still. Now he faces another charge. A roll of 4, but no hit. And the warrior will turn around and fight back. He is so tired now that he almost can't raise his own weapons above his knees. And of course, he'll not hit. It's like the last remaining members of the groups just won't die. Now let's see if this warrior can eliminate a Birdman. He will need only a 3 because he is within Ferocious range. The veteran will aid him in his attack, but no, he's not able to hit. And the tired Birdman will try another attack, and again, he's too tired. The final activations of this round will be for the Birdman to remove his shaken condition, and for the Saurian Guardian in the swamp to do the same. The brutal battle continues. The swamp water is red with blood, and no one seems to be able to get the upper hand in this battle. Let's proceed to round number 4. For the 4th time, the Birdmen have the advantage of the first activation, and the Disc Rider's up first again. He will begin with an assault on the Guardian in the swamp. So he will first fire his handbow. He will hit with 1 arrow. The first Guardian went out quickly, but this one seems way more tough. He will wipe away the arrow, but now comes the remaining part of the assault, the hand weapons. 2 attacks again. The Birdman will hit on 5s, and also this time he will land a hit on the Guardian. And once again, he seems incredibly tough. No hits at all. Now he will turn around, and he will attack with his heavy halberd. And that's a solid hit. That's AP 1. The Birdman must roll a 6. It's no good. He will be hit and take 1 wound. And there it is. 1 wound to the Disc Rider. The Birdman and this warrior are still fighting, and it's a miracle that they're still alive. And the warrior will not hit with this charge. The Birdman will strike back with his hexed weapon, and even though he's not fatigued, they just can't seem to hit anything. The other Birdman tries his luck with this warrior. Another charge. And another failed attack. And the return strike, this time there is a hit. So the Birdman must block with a 5, and he fails his defense roll, so that's 1 wound, at least a wound now. And the roll on the wound chart, now finally we have some action here. The Birdman is struck down, and he will drown in a pool of blood and swamp water. That inspires the Saurian veteran to go straight for the Birdmen leader. 3 attacks, and he will need 2s. 1, 2, 2 hits. And that could be enough to take out the leader. He is already wounded. He'll need 6s, and he'll not defend any of the hits. That will take him to 3 wounds. He will face a roll on the wound chart. If the veteran could take him out, that would definitely turn the tide of battle. But with a roll of 4, he will only be shaken. And he will also have the chance to fight back. Of course, he'll need 6s. And the return strike is worthless. So, the Birdman champion is shaken, at least. The Birdman here will forget all about the Saurian warrior that just attacked him, so he will drag his wounds with him and attack this warrior instead. Of course, he'll need a 6. He's already fatigued, and he will roll a 6. Could this be a final breath attack? The warrior must roll a 4, and he will not defend the attack this time. So he will take a hit and a wound and a roll on the wound chart. And with a roll of 1, he's shaken. And he will not hit with his return strike. Instead, this Guardian will attack the Birdman. And he'll need a 6. And that's what he gets. This swamp fight is full of surprises. The Birdman will not block, so he will take his 3rd wound now. He will have to roll 2 or less to survive, and it's a 2. With his 3rd wound, he is shaken, and no one can blame him. But still around. The Birdman champion is up next, and the only thing he can do is to remove his shaken condition, so he's back in the fight. Now the Gecko once again will try to eliminate the Disc Rider. He will aim his javelin, and he will hit with a 5. This is the battle that will continue to give, and the Birdman Disc Rider will this time dodge the javelin, so he'll take no hits. The Disc Rider will remove his shaken condition, and a Saurian warrior here will do the same. So this round is over, but the battle is not over yet. We will proceed to round number 5. The heavily wounded Birdman Disc Rider will begin, and he will target the Saurian warrior with his bow. There will be 2 hits. The Saurian warrior will have to come up with rolls of 4 or more, and he blocks the arrows. That was a golden opportunity to take one Saurian out, but they really have a hard time getting them off the battlefield. Instead, the Saurian veteran will attack the Birdman champion, and he will hit with all 3 of his attacks. It's AP1. There are no rending hits though, but still with AP1. The Birdman champion must roll 6. And this means 6 wounds total for the Birdman champion. He must definitely draw his final breath now. Yes, the roll on the wound chart, it's way too much. He will be pierced finally by the Saurian veteran's heavy spear. The first real breakthrough in this battle. Now the second Disc Rider will target the warrior again. He will hit. They are capable with their bows. Can the warrior again defend? And he will not only defend, he will laugh right in the face of the Disc Rider. No damage. They are so tough. But it's also their home turf, the swamp here. The warrior here was just shot at. Now he will return with a charge. And that results in wound number 4 to this Disc Rider. The roll on the wound chart, it's a 5. There will be no more arrows from this guy. That leaves only one Birdman, and the only thing he can do is to remove his shaken condition, and then he will stare into the eyes of several Saurian warriors. He will also face a charge from the Saurian Guardian. He will be attacked with his heavy halberd. He will hit with 2 because of the Ferocious ability, and he will hit. And the Birdman is already wounded. He will fail his defense roll, take another wound. Question is, can he survive that? No, he is also taken out of this battle. So that leaves only one Birdman Disc Rider. Even though some of the Saurians can activate, we'll jump to the end of this round where he will perform a morale test. He will need a 4 and only a 3. He will definitely be out of here in a hurry on his disc. Finally, a hard-fought victory for the Saurians. It's really remarkable that there are 5 out of the 6 starting Saurian units left. And one other key to this battle is definitely the Saurian veteran. No one dared to attack him because they would face his heavy spear counterattack first. And the ranged attacks really couldn't wound the tough Saurians. Thanks a lot for watching this battle report. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. And I hope you'll join me for future bat reps.